Hey, it's Devin, and this is the Youngbloods. What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day. Today has been actually pretty fun. It's been one of those days where you do things just because you like it, and it's one of those days that so today was that day out of every year. So every year we have a couple of traditions, right? A couple of traditions that since we've been in Utah, the things that we do, and today was one of those traditions that we get to do every year. And honestly, next year it'll be different, but we'll have to go to a different one out when we go back to the south. But today we went to this place called Nightmare on 13th, which is kind of cool because Nightmare on 13th, we go there every year. First of all, Ethan loves haunted houses. He loves going to them. He loves being scared. He loves all that kind of stuff. I don't know why he likes that stuff. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do it because he likes it. Now, we do a haunted house every year, and it's always Nightmare on 13th here in Utah. That being said, it's one of those places that they change the rooms up quite often, and it's kind of cool because you get to see some stuff that you normally don't get to see. You get to see the creativity of others, and while you're seeing the creativity of others, you actually get to be somewhat scared. I mean, we've gotten kind of used to how it works, but on the other side, it's like there's still those moments where the jump scares get you. How you guys doing? But yeah, it's one of those things that's like getting a jump scare is always awesome, especially when you can see it happening. And I tend to like scaring some people occasionally, so I do that. I'll like hide in the corners and scare my kids and things like that. But it's all in all, it's not bad. So yeah, today we did. I guess every family's got their own traditions. This year we did the tradition of doing that. Good. Yeah, that's awesome. Everybody needs to be doing great, and you're doing great. So that's what matters. We just got back from the house. Got back from the haunted house, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta hurry. I gotta get this thing set up. So yeah, so we it's a tradition night. This is the tradition start of all of our, I'd say, holiday season traditions, and tonight was the first of the many to come. So yeah, there's that. So anyway, all that being said, I guess we got some emails to talk about, and there's a few of them. You will be back. Well, come back when you can. It's all good. Do your thing. Let's see what we got here. Oh boy. It's always funny. I read some of the headings of some of these things and I'm like, come on, people. All right. Anyway. Hey, Devin. My partner's ex is still part of their social circle. And now, oh, never mind. Glad you're back. Glad you stayed. And now they want us to all be friends. I don't feel like there's any bad blood, but I'm not sure if I'm comfortable being that close to someone they used to date. Is it weird to be friends with your partner's ex, or should I give it a chance? Okay, so there are two scenarios that I can see this, and you didn't clarify it, but the only time I can see where it would be okay to, be with your ex or be friends with your ex would be if you got kids. Okay. Now, if you're just boyfriend, girlfriend, my favorite song, by the way, I don't know. That varies, by the way. I'll pause on this thing. My favorite song, I don't know. So I'm a guy that loves music, and I used to DJ back in my younger days, and I listen to a lot of music. I enjoy music. So I'm not sure if I have a favorite song, or if even a favorite genre, or even a favorite style. So yeah, there's that. I don't know. What's your favorite song? What do you got? So, but yeah, let's get back to the email. Is it appropriate to be friends with your ex? The only time I think it would be technically appropriate to be friends with your ex would be if if you got kids involved, and that means you were married, yeah, the reality is, if you have kids involved, then that's when it's about appropriate to be, friends with your ex. Because exes, they're an ex for a reason. Even if you were married, they're an ex for a reason. Some things just did not work out. So, and then to go in and say, hey, they want to be friends. It's not that you don't want to be friends with them, but you have a history there. And it would be really weird to be buddy with your ex at that point. I don't know. That's my opinion. So I would say probably don't be friends with your ex. I mean, they can be there, I guess, unless you have kids with them. Then you just got to be friendly as far as the kids are concerned. So there's that. That's my opinion. All right, let's see. Hey, Devin. I just got offered a job in a new city, and while it's a great opportunity, I'm not 100% sure I'll love the work. Moving feels like a huge step for something I'm uncertain about. Should I take the risk, or should I stick with my current, more comfortable situation? So getting out of your comfort zone is always hard. It seems like a lot of people, they kind of get stuck in this part of their life where they really just kind of hang out in this one little area, and they get scared to expand out into the new world and their new horizons, right? That being said, I mean, if you're going to move for a job, you kind of need to know if it's right. You know, if they offer you the right amount of money, if the money's really good, and the city is not all that bad, you can make new friends. And you'll keep the old friends because we got phones and social media and all these different things. But if you're feeling uneasy about the job, I mean, I always say follow your gut. Because you got to do what's right for you. And if you're going to move and you're not sure the job is right, or if you think that the company may be doing some shady stuff, don't do it, because that'll ruin everything that you want to do, right? So yeah, that's my opinion. So you just got to be comfortable with what you're doing. Hey, Devin, I love my best friend, but her kids, not so much. Every time I hang out, they're super loud and misbehaved, and I dread going over to her place because of it. Is it terrible that I don't like my friend's kids? And how do I handle this without ruining our friendship? You know, here's the thing. One, if you have kids of your own and you don't like your friend's kids, it's perfectly normal. Because, even if you don't have kids of your own, it's okay to not like everybody's kids. Shannon and I have a thing called a nope. And typically that's usually geared towards a grouping of young kids that we don't want to deal with. They're nope. Like, nope, we don't want anything to deal with that. I mean, everybody's got their own parenting style, and obviously if their kids are very misbehaved and they're loud, and you're not from that, or you're not around that, and it bothers you, you don't have to. Okay. You can still be friends even though you don't like their kids. I've been with friends and with people, and their kids they had ugly kids, and I say that because my kids are actually are pretty darn beautiful and turned into beautiful young ladies and handsome young men. But you don't have to like other people's kids. Seriously, you don't. You don't. It is not a priority. It is not I don't think it's a requirement to be friends with somebody and that you have to like everything they do. You don't even have to like their spouses. I've got some friends of mine that I can't stand their spouses because and honestly, some of it was rightfully so, and they end up getting divorced, not because I told them to get divorced, but because they were just not good people. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, again, we are never forced to like something that someone else does, or something other people say or do or whatever. That's just how it works. You don't have to like someone because they say you do. That's just not how the world works. So yeah, there's your answer. It is perfectly fine. And you know what? You don't have to even tell them. You can just ignore it. You know, just go over there when you want and hang out when you want. Have them go over to your place, whatever. Just you don't have to do it. Hey, Devin, I've been thinking about switching jobs and have even gone on a few interviews, but I'm not sure if I should tell my current boss. We have a good relationship, and I don't want to burn any bridges, but I also don't want to get caught off guard. Also don't want to get caught off guard if they find out. What's the right move here? It's none of their dang business. You may be friends with your boss. You may have a good relationship with your boss. But that doesn't mean your boss is privy to all information about you and everything that you do and everything that goes on in your life. It doesn't work that way. And if you're looking for another job, then don't tell them, because then they just may let you go. You need the money. You need to keep working, because that's just not right. That's not how this works. You've got to do the right thing for you and yourself, not necessarily the right thing for the business. And the right thing for the business is to not tell them. You got to do what's right. You got to make sure that they are in where they need to be, as far as how you handle it. If you don't want to burn bridges, how you not burn bridges is you make sure you give plenty of notice. If you don't give notice, then that's when you'll burn a bridge. What you do is if you find another job that you like, you take the job. You tell the new job, I can start in X amount of time, and then once you get that job, once they close, they're aware of what's going on, and they're aware of how things should be, and you just turn in your notice. Give them 2. If you want to give them 3 weeks, that's fine. Gives them plenty of time and space to get things going. That's my opinion. I mean, it's one of those things that your boss is not necessarily, he doesn't have to know anything and everything that goes on in your life. If you're looking for a job, it's none of their business. That is literally your business and your business alone. So I don't know why that has come to be what people think think needs to happen, and people think it needs to be done, but it never ever will be why we do things. Seriously, your job is you're only thing is, you're only responsible for hanging out and giving your job the right information only if it pertains to the business. Simple as that. You don't have to give them, they don't, you don't have to tell them a dang thing. You're not required to tell them anything, because you work for them. And if you're in a state like Utah, it's a right to a work state, which means they can fire you anytime you want, which also means you can leave anytime you want, and you can do whatever you want just to make sure your life is where it should be. It's seriously that simple. It's not that difficult. You take care of you, and then you treat your job like you should treat your job, but you're not required to tell your job all the ins and outs of your life. Honestly, it's better not to tell your job all the ins and outs of your life, because honestly, the less they know about your personal life, the better you are. I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again. You don't have to be friends with anyone you work with. And if you are friends with the people you work with, that's cool. Be friends with people you work with. But you don't have to, it's not required. You just have to be able to get along with people that you work with. As simple as that. So, yeah. Your boss should not be privy to everything that goes on in your life. Simple as that. Plain and simple. And honestly, if you don't tell your boss things about your life, that actually protects you in the long run on, whether they want to try to figure out ways to fire you or whatever, because people hold grudges and people use information for their purposes only. So there's that. Hey, Devin, I've been dating someone for about 4 months, and everything is going well, but we haven't really talked about finances yet. I'm wondering if it's too early to bring money stuff up, like debts, spending habits, and financial goals. When is the right time to have this conversation? Are you planning on marrying her? Honestly, that's the question I have. If you are planning on marrying this person, okay, let's just pretend for a minute that after 4 months you're like, this is the person I'm going to marry. Okay, let's just pretend this. Because if you're just, I'll backtrack. If you are not planning on marrying this person, it's none of their dang business. If you're just going out with this person because it's fun, then they don't need to know about the finances. You don't need to know about their finances. They don't need to know about yours. It's none of their business. I mean, and that may sound harsh, but it is true. It is no one's business how much money you make, what you do for a living, any of that stuff until you want to give that information away. So now let's pretend that you've been dating for about 4 months and you want to marry this person. Then yeah, I'd say it's time. There is a time when you need to talk about finances and their debts, their financial goals, all those things. Because honestly, if you're going to spend any amount of time married, hopefully for a long time, I've never been a big fan of divorce and things like that, but I do know it happens. I do know that some people just can't get along, and usually it's because of finances. But if you're going to be talking finances with anybody, and because you're going to marry them, you need to know the ins and outs. And then can people, if they make bad financial decisions, then you need to have those serious talks. Because doesn't mean you shouldn't marry them. It just means that you need to set expectations and have them understand that your goal is to be able to have a crap ton of money when you guys retire. But if you want to spend it all before your retirement, then you don't want to be working when you're 60, 70, and 80 years old. I mean, that's super important. You need to have like-minded goals when it comes to finances, in any relationship, because if you don't, you're going to screw yourself over. Hey, Devin, I'm in my 30s and I feel like everyone around me is thriving, buying houses, getting promotions, having kids. I can't help but feel like I'm falling behind. I'm happy for them, but why does it seem like everyone has it together except me? Is it normal to feel this way? Thanks. So, Laura, here's the deal. You chose to use your name, so I'm going to call you by your name. Laura, here's the thing. Get off your butt and do something. And I say that jokingly. The reality is, everybody's got their own goals in life. People do in their 30s, they're getting married, they're having kids, they're getting promotions. It's okay to feel like you're behind. And it's okay that you feel like other people are happy or happier than you. The problem is you're comparing your life too much to those that are around you. That's the problem I see. You're focusing on all of their things versus focusing on your life. Because I promise you, they have problems in their life too. They probably look at you like, oh, look how great Laura's doing. Look how she has a free life. She does what she wants. Blah 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 blah. Right. The reality is you're suffering from just self-comparison. The more you compare yourself to other people, the worse you're going to feel. And it's like people who compare themselves to other people when they're on social media. And I'll tell you right now, majority of things that you see online are completely fake. Seriously, it is literally fake. I've told the story before about friends of mine that their social media account was completely false and fake, and they pretended they took all these they went on these cool vacations and they visited all these cool Airbnbs when all those things were houses that were for sale, and they'd go in and take photos in these houses. I mean, come on. Once we start comparing ourselves to other people, then we literally start. That's when your unhappiness will kick in. So self-comparison has to stop. People need to learn to not compare themselves to others. What they need to do is focus on themselves and their own personal goals. And if you don't have any goals, start and setting some. As simple as that. Find out what you want to do. Figure out what kind of life you want to live, and live that life. It's not that difficult. It's pretty simple and easy. So yeah. Hey, Devin, I love my partner, but their parents are constantly in our business. They drop by unannounced. They give us unsolicited advice and basically treat us like we're still kids. How do I set boundaries without creating tension between us? Okay, dumb joke, but it's true. Do you know the difference between in-laws and outlaws? Well, the difference is outlaws are wanted. Let me tell you, in-laws are always, even your parents are always going to give advice. And most people give unwanted advice all the time anyway. And they shouldn't, but they do. And it's just part of what people do. Now, what you need to do is, like you said, how do I set boundaries without creating tension in between it? Just, don't answer the door. Pretend you're not home. Do the things that, again, it's your life. When you get married, when two people get married and they're not, okay, you're not part of someone else's family. You are, but in a sense, you have created your own family. Now, because you created your own family doesn't mean you're totally separate from your families. It just means you've extended that family, but then that family still has no say-so because you guys are the boss. You're not children. You're not kids unless here, who pays the bills? Are they paying for you to live? If they pay for you to live, then yes, they can have some say-so over your life. Okay. If you're not, and if you're married and you live with your in-laws or your your parents, and they're paying for you to survive, they do have some say-so, sadly. But unless you have set yourself apart, then they're going to keep doing it. Now, like one thing that my wife and I did, and it was a good thing for us, we moved away. We didn't live near my in-laws. We actually didn't even live near my parents. We ended up moving several hours away. And my parents weren't the kind that would be nosy and get involved in your life all the time. If you ask my mom for advice, she'd tell you. If you have my dad advice, he'd tell you. But they really didn't give unwanted advice out of the blue, no reason. They would come by when they were close and say, hey, we're going to swing by. I'm like, okay, no problem. They would let us know. But even when we lived close to them, it wasn't that difficult. My in-laws, my mother-in-law did end up coming up because there was hurricanes in Florida this one time, and her and her boyfriend and my sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law, they stayed at the house for months and months and months, and they should not have been there that long. And then I told Shannon that they need to go after there's a little bit of tension and all this other stuff, and they end up just having to go because they ran out of money. That's what it was, and they should not have ran out of money, but they tried to put on airs that they had more than they had, and they pretended things, and then it ended up coming to bite them. But whatever, the reality is you want to make sure that they still feel involved in your life, but you also need to set up those boundaries and make sure that they do not have the power to control you. So, and to set up boundaries, you just got to set the boundaries. You got to start saying, no, we're not going to come over tonight, or no, don't come over tonight. Or if they show up at the door and say, hey, today's not a good time, let's try later on. You have to just set up a boundary, and you have to let them know that you have your own life. And I know that's hard. I've noticed a lot of that here in Utah, where people just don't know how to set boundaries, and you have in-laws and all this stuff that are all intermingled into one home or two homes, and they just continue to do things. Now, there's nothing wrong with helping each other out as long as you don't expect anything back in return. You just help because you want to help. But there comes a point when you do have to say, okay, let's cut the umbilical. Hey, Devin, my ex has been reaching out to me a lot lately, saying they've changed and they want to try it again. We had a messy breakup, but part of me misses them. Is this a good idea to give an ex a second chance, or should I move on for good? Okay, you're already thinking about it, right? The problem with an ex, and I'll say it, they are an ex for a reason, and it sounds obviously you guys had a messy breakup, so. And they're messaging you and saying that they've changed. Sure, they probably have changed. Could happen, right? Miracles do happen sometimes. But why don't you let them be changed for the next person that they should be with? I think that's probably a smart idea, because they're comfortable with who they are. Even if they have changed a little bit, you will be that. You're the anchor to the old life. And they want to be part of your life. Again, why would you let them be anchored to you? Again, you broke up for a reason. It sounds like you broke up with them, is what it sounds like. But you say you kind of miss them. You miss the connections. You miss the things that you did. You don't miss everything. If you did, then you wouldn't have broken up. You would have been together the whole time. Again, they're an ex for a reason. Keep it chalked up as that. Let someone else have the changed person that they claim that they are, because honestly, it will be better for them to be with a new person, and for you to be better with a new person, because you guys don't want to fall back into that same pattern that you used to be in. It actually turns out to be way better for that, for you and for them. So again, do the right thing, do the things that help you out to make you a better person, and probably is not to get back with your ex. Yeah. Hey, Devin. I've been with my partner for years, and while we're happy, I sometimes feel bored. I love them, but our relationship has definitely lost its excitement as it had in the beginning. Is this just part of being in a long-term relationship, or is something wrong? Okay, here's the thing. In every relationship, there is always ups and downs, right? Every relationship you'll have the downward moments, and then you'll have your upward moments where everything's exciting. Not everything is always going to be exciting. I can tell you, my wife gets freaking boring sometimes. Sometimes I get extremely boring. The key thing is you continue on, and if your relationship's boring, fix it. Make it less boring. Do things. Add some more excitement to it. I mean, plan trips, go on vacations, whatever. I mean, honestly, put on that skimpy lingerie. I'm pretty sure you guys used to do that. I know we did. Well, I didn't, but she did. The thing is, anything can come complacent, but you have to keep working. If you're not willing to keep working on things, and you're not willing to push your relationship to that next level, because there are next levels. Right now, instead of being married for 23 years, my wife and I are on level 23. We're almost a level 24. Think about it as a like a video game. The higher levels you get, the more exciting it should be getting, right? And if you're not making it exciting, then that's on you. So I would say level 24 is going to be even more exciting than level 23. Level 23 has been kind of rough because, and I honestly say part of why level 23 has been a little bit rough is because ever since my wife got the COVID shot, true, I'm saying it, I'm going to go there, her health has been horrible, good and bad, but back and forth. It's just because it's been bad. So that makes it harder when it comes to having a healthy bedroom relationship. But I'm a patient man, and I love my wife, so I can say it works out. Although I can say it's not as bad as most people's. So yes, you can have a boring moment in your marriage, but if you want more excitement, make your marriage more exciting. All it takes is just a little bit of effort. If you put in the effort, it will come into play. So there you go. Hey, Devin, I love my parents, but every time I see them, they make some kind of comment about my weight. It's always something like, you have put on a few pounds. You should eat healthier. And it's starting to really hurt my feelings. How do I get them to stop without causing a huge family drama? Eat more celery? No, I'm just kidding. Just seriously, I'm just joking. Here's the thing. Your parents probably mean well, but to call someone, they're not calling you fat. They're insinuating things, right? And as rude as that is, they're still your parents, and you're going to love them. But it does hurt your feelings. So tell them. And the thing is, it depends on what kind of parents they are. They may get mad that you're calling them out on it. But seriously, if you tell your parents how you feel, they should be at least willing to understand, right? Now, if anything, they're probably meaning well. They probably want you to be healthier. I mean, I know my weight fluctuates a good bit. But usually it's because I don't eat right half the time. But when, I do know I feel better when I'm eating right. I do feel better when I'm exercising and going to the gym and things like that. But they mean well, but they're doing it the wrong way. I would have a conversation with them. And if they take it and they get upset, drama happens. It's how we handle the drama is what really matters, right? You have to do what's right for you. And if you don't like the way they're treating you, you got to tell them. You can't just let it sit there and you can't ignore it. You have to actually focus. If you want to have a better life, here's the thing. I know when people down me bad, although I may say it doesn't hurt my feelings, it can, and it does. And I know words don't hurt, right? I mean, but they do. I grew up where the old saying, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never harm you. Words can sting because it makes you feel inadequate to doing certain things. That's part of that is because we will always want to feel like we are accepted in everybody's eyes. But once you realize that it doesn't matter what other people think, their opinions are completely wrong when it comes to certain things, then yeah, that's what matters. Now, if you are morbidly obese and you have a ton of weight on you and you're using the excuse of, well, I'm only this big because, I have diabetes, blah, 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 or whatever the reason is, then you probably need to see somebody. You need to deal with this head on and take care of it, because being overweight is unhealthy. It really is. I mean, I could say, hey, I'm the best I've ever felt. No, I do not. I can tell you I am not the best I've ever felt in my life, just with the extra weight I have on me. And it makes me look kind of miserable. But you got to be willing to work on you, even though there may be some truth to what they say. Even though they say it in a rude way, you got to be willing to listen and do what they say, to at least something that they're saying, because there could be some validity to it. Once you can acknowledge that, then your life will change. I mean, they're probably just concerned about you, but what you can do, you can just fix it, right? And just do it for you. Don't do it for them. Do it because it makes you happy. Because I can ask you, would you, if you did what they said, would that make you feel happier, or would you do it? Hey, don't want to do it because of spite. I know a lot of people who said that they were perfectly healthy and they were fine with what their weight they had, and honestly, a few years later, they're dead because technically it was killing them. Okay, it's not right that they act that way, but deal with it, and you'll be okay. Seriously, just talk to them, and then honestly, work on yourself. Make yourself better. Be the person that you want to be, not because someone else expects you to be that way. Hey, Devin. One of my best friends just started dating someone who's kind of a jerk. They're rude, dismissive, and just not a good fit for her. But she seems really into them. Should I say something about how I feel, or is it the best to let her figure it out for herself? Okay, here's the thing. If you're a girl, you don't have your name on here. So if you are a female and you're talking about your female friend's potential boyfriend or whatever, why haven't you said anything anyway? Girls tell all their best friends things all the time. Literally had this same conversation in the car with my daughter and one of her good friends on the way to the haunted house tonight. And girls tell girls everything. The fact that you haven't done that is kind of concerning. What his job is, his job is to try to win you over, because he's not a smart guy. What he should be doing, he should be winning you over in a non-flirtatious way. He cares about you just as much, if not as much, but there's that he cares about you and proves to you that he cares about her. Because if a guy ever wants an in on with a girl, he needs to impress her friends, plain and simple. What's that song by what is that? Spice Girls. That first line of that one song is literally true. If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. Yeah. If you pass the friend test, you're all the way in. That's the reality. So you are not doing your job as a friend to tell your other friend that this dude's a jackass. That's your job. You're supposed to do that. That is your responsibility as a friend to tell your friend that the guy that she's dating is a jerk. You have to. That is your job. Yeah. So, whatever. You have failed as a friend at this point. So fix it. Go tell her. Do it right now. Don't wait. Go do it right now. Hey, Devin. I've been with my partner for a while, but they never post pictures of us or mention me on social media. I know it's not a huge deal, but part of me wonders if they're hiding me or if I'm just overthinking it. Should I be offended, or is social media not that important? Okay, so there was a study, and I want to find the study. I should look it up right now, but there's a study that says that people who are very comfortable in their relationship typically don't post pictures of their spouses that often on social media. Now, that's just a study that they said, but I don't know if I believe that or not. Here's the thing. If he's not posting pictures of you on social media, it's maybe not that he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't like you. My guess is he's not sure. It sounds like he's been hurt before. That's what this sounds like. It sounds like he's been hurt before, and so he's putting up a little wall. So what you need to do is just don't overthink it. Deal with it as it is, and I tell you, you'll be fine. Seriously. They're not hiding you. They're just not sure that you're going to stick around. So there is a little bit of fear there. And even though there may be some fear there, the fear can be fixed just by making them feel more comfortable. Honestly, if you make him more comfortable, then maybe he will. Right? It's like people who get offended because their significant other has not or their boyfriend or girlfriend has not posted that they're in a relationship yet on social media. Don't be mad about that. Seriously, it's a dumb thing to do. You don't need to worry about some things, and that would be one of those things you don't worry about. It's just social media. Seriously. All right. Hey, Devin. One of my closest friends just asked me to be a bridesmaid. But the truth is, I really don't want to. It's expensive, time consuming, and I'm just not into the whole wedding scene. Is it important to say no? No, is it wrong to say no? And if I do, how do I tell them without hurting? If I don't do it, how do I tell them without hurting their feelings? If someone asks you to be their bridesmaid, you just gotta tell them that you're worried about the cash. First of all, if you're worried about the cash, don't do it. I mean, and if you don't want to be there, just tell them you can't be there. I mean, honesty is part of the thing. If you got to be honest with your friends, and if you can't be honest with your friends, then why are you friends with them? And in reality, to be friends with somebody, you actually take the chance on hurting someone's feelings, and you got to be willing to do that, because I would want to know the truth from my friends. If they didn't like me, that's fine. Who cares? I mean, I'm comfortable with myself that if someone doesn't like me, I can get over it and I can move forward and say, hey, Kate, hey, guess what? All is good. No worries here. Seriously, because it's not but if they invited you, so here's the thing. If they feel comfortable with you adding you as their bridesmaid, you're just being one of the bridesmaids. They're paying for the dress. You don't have to pay for the dress. That's all covered underneath them. You don't have to pay for the dress. You just got to show up. So don't stress about it. I mean, you're just being a bridesmaid. Honestly, unless you just don't want to be there, then just tell them you can't be there. I think it's just that simple. Hey, Devin. I've only been at my current job for a couple of years, but I already feel completely burnt out. I'm exhausted, stressed, and starting to hate the work. Is this just how jobs are, or am I doing something wrong? How do I deal with burnout without quitting? Okay, everybody gets burnout, but it sounds like you need a break. If you haven't taken a vacation, you probably need to take a vacation. And if you haven't taken a vacation because you're worried about money, then what you need to do is take a staycation and take a couple of days off. The thing is with working for somebody, you become essentially a servant to that business all the time. Your job is to go to work, do the same thing over and over and over, day in and day out. Now, when I say it that way, it does sound kind of depressing, but it's the truth. If you're doing your job right, then you're going to be making decisions to help the business grow. But one thing people forget. Okay, hold on. One thing people forget is if you died today, your job's going to post your job as being available tomorrow. That's the reality. So give only what you feel like you should be giving. Fulfill your job. And if you want to get raises and things like that, then do what you know needs to be done so your job is happy with you so you can get some promotions. But you got to do what's right. That'll help you not be burnt out all the time. Seriously, you have to be happy. And, working for companies gets very difficult. Seriously, it does. So, yeah, again, when you work for a company, you have to be happy there. You have to do your job. But if you're getting exhausted, you got to take a break. You need to take a day off or two and recoup. I don't know what kind of hours you're working, but you got to just figure it out. Because get burnt out you're going to end up just hating every second of it, and you have bills to pay because nothing's getting cheaper, and you just got to do what's going to be best for you. Hey, Devin, my boss has been asking me to work overtime more and more and more. Okay, goes along lines with the previous email. And while I could use the extra money, I'm starting to feel burnt out, more burnout. The thing is, my coworkers seem totally fine with working extra hours, and I'm worried I'll look lazy. Or if I say no, should I feel bad for not wanting to work overtime? No. Some companies do require you to work overtime, at least, X amount of overtime at certain times of the year. It is almost a mandatory. So take the overtime when you have to take it. But other than that, why would you want to do more than you have to do? You have a life? And if you have a life, then you should be happy with your life. Your life is not all about the physical activities that you do at your business. What you do for your business is that's all that. You're selling your time for money. When you have a job, you're literally selling your time for money. And if you don't want to sell your time for money anymore, don't do it. Unless you're required to work the overtime, don't do it. And if they want to say that you're being lazy, say, no, I just have a life. Seriously, the people who would call you lazy because you don't want to be there for overtime, they don't have a life. And you have a life, and you want a good life, and you want to do things that you want to do for your life. Your job is not to just be a cog in the mix of creating more corporate, make your corporate entity that much better. When you're on the job, that is what you're supposed to be doing. But when you're off the job, it doesn't matter. Again, you are not responsible for the the well-being of your business other than doing what you're required to do. Do what's required, maybe a little bit more, but that's it. If you don't want to do overtime, don't do overtime. Don't let them manipulate you and guilt you into doing things you don't want to do. Hey, Devin, one of my closest friends just got a big promotion, and while I'm happy for them, I can't help but feel a little jealous. I know it's not fair to them, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm falling behind. Am I being petty? And how do I deal with this without ruining our friendship? Why do they even need to know? Seriously, you have jealousy issues, and you're jealous that they didn't, that you didn't get the job, or you're not getting the different things. You're comparing yourself to other people. That's what's happening here. You think you should have the things that other people have. There's a lot of people that have things that I don't have. There's a lot of things I have that other people don't have. Again, stop comparing yourself. When you compare yourself, you're making yourself look really bad. And so why would you even tell them? If anything, it's only what time it'll ruin a relationship is if you actually start talking about it. You should be happy that your friends are getting promotions. You should glory in the fact that they're doing those things, and that's making their lives that much better. So don't be focusing on the wrong stuff. Seriously, it makes no sense. You have a comparison issue. Stop comparing yourself to other people. And if you stop comparing yourself to other people, you'll be fine. And then you're not missing out on anything. Sure, they got a promotion, but who cares? Good for them. They get to work twice as hard. Seriously, don't stress about it. Hey, Devin, my partner wants to move in together, and while I love them, I have some doubts. I'm worried about losing my independence, or things change once we live together. Should I move in and see how it goes, or trust my gut and wait? Okay, so I will say it. I'm not a big fan of just moving in with people. Seriously. I mean, I think what happens is when people move in together, they cheapen what they could have to come. If there's no ring and there's no marriage commitment, I think you're wasting things. You have to do what's right, and I don't think that's right. And if you're if your gut's telling you to wait, it's probably smart. I mean, it's okay to have your doubts, and if you're worried about losing your independence, then tell them that you're having your doubts and you don't want to do it right now. Then see how they react. And if they react poorly, that's your gut feeling was correct. The right thing's always going to be the right thing, even though we may try to mask it and try to justify our means by in many different ways just to get the end result that we want. The end result is still going to happen. You can't manipulate yourself into doing bad things into doing the right thing. So I would say, yeah, I would wait, my opinion, because if you feel like it can go wrong, it most likely will go wrong. Hey, Devin, I've noticed that one of my friends only seems to reach out when they need a favor or help with something. It's starting to feel one-sided, and I'm not sure if I should bring it up just distance myself. Should I say something, or is this just how friendships are sometimes? Okay, that's how friendships are sometimes. And a lot of times people, here's the thing. If you want to distance yourself, if you want to push back on this a little bit, then push back a little bit. Say, hey, I can't help you right now, maybe later. The thing is, there's nothing wrong with putting up a fence and say, hey, I'm right now, can't do it. Because you have to protect you. There's nothing wrong with helping anybody anytime they want, but you don't need to be a doormat. And, honestly, to deal with people's drama and their problems all the time, that is life sucking your life completely out. You don't need that. You need to have you your own freedoms. You need to be able to do the things that you want to do. You need to be happy. And if them sucking the life from you because you want to be happy, you got to be happy. You deserve to be happy. And if they only want to talk to you when they have a problem, they're not good friends. I mean, you can distance yourself. It's perfectly fine. And if you say something, I think you should. I think you should say something. Say, hey, well, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with setting a boundary and letting them know, hey, I just can't handle this type of stuff right now. And then see what happens. I don't think that's bad. I think that's perfectly fine and perfectly normal because people tend to go too far sometimes. And honestly, I don't want to know everything my friends think about anyway. That'd be horrible. Can you imagine have to listen to everything or know everything about all these things? You don't need to do that. Hey, Devin, my partner and I have been talking about the future, and they're really eager to start a family soon. The thing is, I'm not sure I'm ready to have kids right now. I love the idea of having them one day, but still want to enjoy our time as a couple first. Is it wrong to feel this way? And how do I tell them without causing tension? The thing is, you should communicate with your partner. You need to talk about it. If you're not ready, then you're not going to. The thing is, you're never going to be ready to have a kid until you have a kid. That is the truth. It is, because having kids is very stressful. It's hard. You're never going to be financially ready to have a kid. You'll never be able to afford to have a kid until you have a kid, and then you just figure it out. Now, if you guys if they're both okay. Now, if they just want to have a kid because they think that'll solve a problem, meaning you guys have had some struggles and you think, well, maybe if I just, it's kind of like people who buy a dog or a cat or something, trying to think that'll solve the problem with our relationship. If you guys are having relationship issues, then you got to fix that. You got to talk about that. You need to fix that first before you're having kids. That's like, it's like, okay, we'll buy a dog because it's a distraction. All it is a distraction. And the thing is, if you had a kid and you're not ready and they think that's going to solve and fix the problem that you're having, then what's going to happen is one of you guys could eventually get a divorce, and then you're going to end up paying a crap ton of money for child support. And that would suck, to be honest. That is not where you want to be. So if you're apprehensive about having a kid right now, but you do want to have kids, let them know. You got to have that conversation. It's a simple conversation. It's a simple thing to do. You just got to sit back and relax, talk to them, and get it out in the open. And it may feel awkward at first, but if you love this person and they love you, then it shouldn't be an issue. If the person you love cares about you, they're willing to sit down and talk about the things. Now, if you guys got married and you're just out of a whim because you're like, hey, let's just do this, then yeah, you got to be careful. Pardon me. I'm tired. I stayed up. Whatever. Hey, Devin, my coworker is always my coworkers are always organizing happy hours and their group outings after work. But I honestly just want to go home and unwind. I like them well enough, but I don't feel like where to go. But I don't feel like socializing outside of work. Am I wrong for not wanting to join them? And how do I politely decline without seeming antisocial? Be antisocial. It's okay. You can pretend you can seem antisocial, because I will say it, and I will say it till I'm blue in the face. The reality is, you don't have to be friends with the people that you work with. You don't have to hang out with the people you work with after work. You don't have to. Anyone that says you have to, they're idiots. All you have to do is, when you have a job, you just have to be able to get along with those people. You have to be able to, work with them. You don't have to hang out after work. And if you don't want to hurt their feelings, just say, hey, I can't do it. I can't right now because I have to go home and do something. Or just say, you can just tell them that, you're not that you don't like those guys, but You got other things that you need to take care of. I mean, honestly, you don't have to. It is never a requirement. Unless they're paying you to be there. If your job is paying you to be there, then you got to be there. But other than that, you don't have to be there. And anyone that tells you differently, they're idiots. They're stupid. It is not required. I don't understand that. People take that way too far. You don't have to be best friends with the people that you work with at all. It makes no sense. I mean, yeah, you just got to do what's right for you and put in your time at your job and make that what that is. It's a job. If you got a family like I do, like mine, I know that I worked for a couple of companies, and one company they would do the same thing. All the coworkers would go, "Hey, we're gonna go out to such and such." I don't drink, and they knew I didn't drink, so they stopped inviting me. To be honest, they stopped inviting me, and part of that is I would rather go home because I had kids, and I wanted to see my kids. I wanted to see my wife. I wanted to spend time with those that I know that are and hone in the relationships I knew that I was going to have for a very, very long time. And build those. That's to me, that's the simple part. I mean, you're not required to do all these things. So again, don't let people try to fool you and trick you to thinking that that's what you're supposed to be doing, because you're not. You don't have to do that. Yeah. Hey Devin, I've got a friend who constantly flakes on plans at the last minute, and I'm starting to get really frustrated. I like them, but it feels like I can't rely on them for anything or anyone. Should I keep trying, or is it time to cut ties with someone who's never there when I need them? Yeah. Oh, more people from Philippines. Hello, how are you guys doing? Glad you're here. You know, the thing is, friends are friends. You can't force your friends to do things, and you can't force your friends to show up. You can make all the plans in the world. I know I've made plans with people, and they flaked on me, and I still went out and did the thing. You know, I've done Top Golf by myself before, and that's okay. You know, the thing is, some people just use other people because it gives them a sense of, you know, it benefits them. A lot of friends out there in the world are only there because you benefit them, not because they benefit you. And you know, those friends will weed themselves out. They'll disappear when they disappear, and you know, those friends are not really friends. They're just more acquaintances. And it's okay to have acquaintances. So don't be upset about it, because there's plenty of good people out there that you should hang out with and that you can be hanging out with. You just haven't found those people yet. Hey, Devin, I've been trying to focus more on self-care, but every time I take time for myself, I feel guilty, like I should be doing something more productive. Why do I feel this way, and how do I stop feeling bad for taking care of myself? Well, if you don't take care of yourself, no one's going to take care of you. So if you don't take care of yourself and you end up just forgetting about your life, then why would anybody else want to take care of you or even worry about your life? It's that simple. I mean, self-care is important. You got to make sure you're happy. You got to make sure the things that you do make you happy. You got to make sure that you're doing things to keep yourself going, and you know, you don't feel like that taking care of yourself is bad, and don't feel guilty for it, because you got to be happy and you need to take care of yourself. Like going to the gym should make you happy. You know, relaxing a little bit should make you happy. And even, yeah, it's okay to take care of yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself, honestly, then what's the point? Seriously, you should be taking care of yourself and being happy with who you are. Yeah. All right. There was a knock at the door. Bentley. Hey, Devin. I've been thinking a lot about getting older lately. Okay. And honestly, it freaks me out. The idea of aging, losing independence, and all that comes with it scares me more than I'd like to admit. Is it normal to be afraid of growing old, and how do I deal with the anxiety? Here's the thing. Getting older is inevitable. I'm looking at you right now, and I'm 46 years old. And if you would have, I can't even imagine that I would be the age I am right now, because back when I was in my 20s, it didn't exist. Being older like I am, and I'm not old. I'm in my 40s. But the reality is we all are going to get older. Just don't think about it. And if you get anxiety about it, the reality is there's nothing you can change, because time is going to go by. Time is always going to be different. You're going to get older. I'm not trying to stress you out. Eventually you're going to be a grandparent or be the age of your grandparents. And that's okay. That means you have lived your life. You have done things. You will have seen things. You have met places. You have loved. You have lost. You have made money. You have done all of these amazing things. And to sit back and say it's scary and it's going to bother you and you have anxiety because of it, you can't go there. Because just if you worry about that, then you're letting life pass you when you should be embracing life. You should be doing things that are going to make you a better person, and do things that are going to make sure that are going to be helping others. You need to do things that are going to be amazing. You need to go places that are cool to see. You need to do all of that. That is, in a sense, that is what life is about. You've got to do that. So don't stress about that. Just be happy. Getting older is a privilege. Getting older. So don't worry about getting older. Age is just age. Yeah. You will be fine, because honestly, every second that goes by, you're aging just another second. There was a time when I didn't have white in my beard. There was a time that I had hair on my head. But age is just age. Go live your life. Do amazing stuff, see amazing places, meet amazing people, love amazing, find your love of your life, spend all that time with that person, do the things that are going to bring you incredible happiness. Stop worrying about every second that goes by, because time can freak you out, but you won't think about it if you're doing amazing stuff. The anxiety will go away because you're not focusing on it. You need to just do things. Get experiences, live life, be happy. Plain and simple. Hey, Devin, I've noticed that my partner never really apologizes when we argue, even when they're clearly in the wrong. Then they just kind of move on without acknowledging it. Is this something I should be concerned about? Or am I overthinking it? So here's the thing. People apologize in different ways. You sound like a husband that is being beat down. So here's the deal. Okay. There's that old thing. When I'm right, out of my wife and I, when I'm right, I'm still wrong. When she's right, I'm still wrong. When we're both right, she's right. When she's right, I'm wrong. And I know that's a joke, but the reality is you have to be willing to sit back and relax. In any relationship, you got to be willing to apologize. So, okay, Not everybody knows how to apologize in the right way. And the thing is, if you're ever expecting to have an apology, you're never going to get that apology. Apologies are... Some people, when they apologize, they just show you versus tell you. If you're expecting the words from some people, you're never going to get the words. Those words will never exist. Okay? And it's really hard when you're in, especially if you're in a long-term relationship and your partner does not know how to say, you know what, I apologize. Or I'm sorry. That's honestly, it's a humbling experience to do that. And everybody in any relationship needs to be willing to say, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm in the wrong. Because if you can't admit that you're wrong, then you're not a good person. Really. Because we all make mistakes. Now, on the other side, on the flip side of that, if you're expecting an apology all the time and them to like bow down and, oh, I know I did wrong. I apologize, blah, 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 blah. You're in the wrong too. You need to be more forgiving, is my opinion. Because if you're not being willing to be more forgiving, then your life's going to be miserable. You got to be able to sit back and say, you know what? That was wrong. That was a wrong thing that happened to me. But because I love this person, I'm going to move on. And then if they come and apologize, boom, you got it. But if you never get it, unless they're being just mean and rude and nasty all the time and never wanting to change anything or do anything better, you don't have to worry about. But if they're mentally and physically and emotionally abusing you, yeah, then you're never going to get an apology anyway. But you shouldn't be in that relationship anyway. You should get out of it. That's not right. Good people don't treat people that way, and they would honestly be a bad person. Hey, Devin, I've noticed that while I have a lot of acquaintances, I don't really have any close friends. Everyone seems to have their person, but I'm not sure I do. Is this something I should be worried about, or is it okay to not have a best friend as an adult? You know, I think we always need somebody to talk to. Being friends with people is important. Now the problem is a lot of people will put up what do you call it? A lot of people will put up barriers to make it where it's harder to be friends with people, right? Because honestly, a lot of people and a lot of friends will use the information that you give them for their advantage. So there's that fear, right? That is an actual legitimate fear that if you open up to someone, that they're going to use that against you. If you want to have a good best friend, one, you need to be able to trust them. You have to be able to trust people, right? You got to be willing to open up to them too. Doesn't have to be about everything. It should be about some things, but not everything. You know, as an adult, it is harder and harder to make real friends because a lot of times as adults, we see the damaged goods of people out there and we see the things how they are. The thing is, you just got to go into a relationship to a friend knowing that you're going to open up and they may not be around in a few years, or they may be around in 10 years. You just don't know. But you got to be willing to open up to lose something to gain something. Now, if you move to a new city and it's harder to meet new people, you just got to get yourself out there. You know, a lot of people jump online, they play video games with people and gain lasting friendships that way. I mean, this is a definite thing that people need to do, but don't worry too much about it because it will happen. I mean, honestly, and I've said you don't have to be friends with people you work with. Try to open up with some people you work with. They will probably be willing to bring you in. Especially if you move to a new area for a job, you got to find friends somewhere, right? I mean, having adult friends is nice, but it's not a requirement for life. You need to be perfectly happy with yourself first before you honestly start jumping out there to other people. Hey, Devin, My partner really wants to have a dog, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that kind of responsibility. I like pets, but I don't. But the idea of taking care of one full time seems overwhelming right now. How do I tell them without sounding like a downer? And should I compromise? Here's the thing. I've had an email similar to this before, and I've said it. My wife is a happier person when she has an animal. Okay, and because I'm allergic to animals, that makes it difficult for me because I'd have to take medicine. But if you love the person that you're with, especially if you're married, then an animal may help because it can bring happiness that you can't give. I know sometimes I'm just a hardened jerk, and I don't see things that I should. So the nice thing is for my wife to have a dog and for her to know that he's there and he brings comfort to her. He helps on bad, rough days that he can relax. He helps her to relax so then we can be better people for each other. It is a good thing. Now, you're right. The whole taking care of it. If they want a dog, then you can give in to them, but you don't want to take care of it. That you let them know that's on them. That is their pet. That is their animal. My wife takes care of our dog. She does I'd say at least 99% of it all. Right? She's in charge of the dog. Bentley is a great animal. I actually love the dog a lot, and I'll be sad when he passes. But of course, he's not there yet. He's got at least another 6 years, I'm guessing. Hopefully longer, because I'm not ready for those tears yet. But honestly, it can't be a bad thing. But if you're not compromised, you just need to be willing to explain your side of it all. And if you are really allergic, then explain that. Say, I can't do it. But be willing to have a discussion. I mean, everything about all this stuff is all about discussions. It's about talking to people. It's about, making people understand what's going on and being open about it to everybody. If you're with your significant other, with your wife, with your husband, with your friends, it's all about communication. That's one of the things that people are lacking in the world is they lack the ability of knowing how to have a conversation with bullshit conversation. Conversations should have something to do, and if people can get that with conversations, we all have our own different feelings. But you have to be willing to have the conversation, be willing to hurt someone's feelings, and just do the right thing. It is a requirement of being a human being. Being willing to take the chance of hurting someone's feelings, but also be willing to take the chance of making it right. Hey, Devin, I've always been more of a homebody, but lately I feel like my friends are pressuring me to go out more, whether it's to bars, parties, or events. I honestly rather stay home, but I'm worried that they think I'm being boring and social. Is it weird to enjoy going out as much as they do? Okay. Sincerely, Hannah. Yeah. Hannah, here's the deal. You kind of sound like my daughter. I have a 19-year-old daughter that loves having friends, loves going out kind of, but she prefers to stay in a lot of times. And it's not that she's being antisocial. It's when she is social, it's like everybody, your cell phone die eventually, right? And when your cell phone dies, then you're, okay, I gotta go charge it up. Being social for some people is draining because you're putting some energy out there. People are sucking up that energy. It's almost as if you're just draining your battery. So if you're not being antisocial, you just know that where your battery is, and you know how to function with that battery. And if you go zero battery, like I've seen my daughter when she has zero battery, she is a grouchy girl, and no one wants to be around her because when her social battery is overloaded, she is not fun to be around. So you can explain it that way. Say, okay, I can go out tonight, but I'm not going out tomorrow night. Kind of just build it up and let them know. Tell them that you again, be honest about it. You don't have to hang out all the time. It's okay to be home sometimes. You want to make sure your social battery is charged for when you do go out. You'll be a good friend and be able to be that good social battery person. Seriously, that's how that works. Hey, Devin, my sibling is getting married and asked me to be in their wedding party. But honestly, I don't want to do it. The whole process sounds stressful, and we're not even that close. How do I tell them without causing family drama? You know what? Do it. They're getting married once. They ask you to be part of it. It's going to take all of just a few minutes of your time, I mean, seriously, usually I would tell you a million reasons why you and how you could get out of doing something like that. Honestly, you already have all those excuses. So what you need to do is just suck it up and do the right thing for your family. And so you don't want to cause drama, then don't cause the drama. Sit back, say yes, be part of the family, do the things that you think that other people would do for you or would not do for you. Do the right thing. Because it's really hard to say, no, I don't want to do this. It's not. I'll tell you, it's not worth the argument. What you need to do is, again, suck up, swallow your pride, be part of the thing you say you don't want to do, because honestly, in the end, you won't regret doing it. Only thing you have regrets for not doing it. Those regrets are more so than the regrets of doing something. I'd rather have the regret of saying, man, I did that, dang it, oh my gosh, versus saying, man, I wish I would have done that. Your siblings are not going to be around forever, and would you want to be that person that's like, you know what, I didn't like you anyway? What jerk? That's a jerk thing to say. You don't do that. You don't treat people that way. You don't treat family that way. Just do the right thing, plain and simple. There you go. Hey, Devin, my partner is amazing in so many ways, but they're terrible in remembering important dates, birthdays, anniversaries, you name it. I don't know. I know they don't mean anything by it, but it still stings. Should I be offended, or is this a small thing I need to get over? Okay. Not remembering things. It can be rough, right? Having someone who doesn't remember your anniversary can be bad. My sister, her husband this year, he forgot their anniversary. Was anniversary? I think it's anniversary. Yeah, their anniversary. No. Birthday. Oh my gosh. Now, see, I'm struggling trying to remember this. I know when my sister's birthday is. No, it was their anniversary because my sister's birthday's coming up. So he forgot their anniversary. And my sister, being my sister, my poor brother-in-law, there was a knock at their door, and there was a friend of my sister's. She came there. She goes, I just want to tell you happy anniversary. And all of a sudden, he's in the back room, and he looks up at the front like, oh, I forgot. And he did forget. And my sister didn't say a word about it. I will say I am extremely proud of my brother-in-law because he stuck to his guns, and he stuck to the fact that he did forget. And because he did forget, he's like, I made my bed. I'm going to sleep in it. It wasn't until that night that my sister's like, hey, were you not going to say anything? Are you not going to do anything? And he's like, no, I wasn't. Even after you found out, he's like, no, I'm stuck here. What you can do, if it does make you upset, the fact that they're not remembering birth dates and all this stuff. I have most of my kids' birth dates memorized. Give me a second, I could probably tell you every one of them. I'd have to think about it for a second. But when it comes to my anniversary, I remember my anniversary. When it comes to my wife's birthday, I remember that day too. Now, what you got to do to make your life a little bit easier, if it bothers you that much, I'm fairly confident that you guys have cell phones and that you guys have smartphones, or whether it's an Apple or an Android or whatever. I guarantee there's a calendar on there, right? So what you need to do is go to the calendar and you need to put those dates in, and so have it and make it remind them the day before. So then they'll get the reminder, and then they'll forget. So if this stuff bothers you, prepare them to do the things that you want them to do. And treat like they're a dog. If you train a dog, a dog will listen and do what you want to do. It just takes effort. Plain and simple. Hey, Devin, my partner wants to move in with me, but I love having my own space. It's that I don't want to live with them eventually, but I'm just not ready to share my apartment yet. Is it selfish to want to keep my space for a little while longer? Are you married? If I say you're getting married and you don't want to move and don't want your spouse to move in, then I'd say, yeah, you're being selfish. That's a red flag. But if the thing is, tell them that you're not ready to move in. Tell them you're not ready to make that commitment, and you will eventually get there, but right now you're not there, and honestly, when you get there, you may be married. And if they have a problem with that, then guess what? They're not the right ones. So you need to just, prepare yourself for some disappointment, because disappointment does come. But okay, you just got to be willing to deal with disappointment and be willing to move on. But honestly, moving in together it sets yourself up for a disaster, my opinion. Hey Devin, my partner my parents have been running a successful business for years, and they've always assumed I'd take it over one day. The problem is, I'm not interested in it at all. But I feel guilty for not wanting to follow their footsteps. And how do I tell them? You tell them. And you say, I'm not sure I want to do this business at all. I'm not sure this is what I want to do. And it's not selfish, because everybody has their own life and they want to live their life however they want to live. You don't have to follow in your parents' footsteps. I mean, I grew up in the construction business, and it's not that my dad had a construction business he wanted to pass down to me. I just didn't want to do that business. And could I have done it? Could I have taken the business into another level and say, hey, Dad, let's do this, or let's do this? Probably. I didn't do it. I didn't like it. So it's okay to follow your own passions, your own abilities, and the things you want to do. You don't have to live that life. So it just comes down to talking to them and setting up a realistic, realistic idea of what your future will be versus what they think it's going to be. You got to talk about it. Yeah. Hey, Devin. Sorry. Hey, Devin, my partner really wants one of us to stay home with the kids, but I've always wanted to keep working. I really feel guilty because I know staying home is important for them, but I'm not sure I'd be happy giving up my career. Should I feel bad for wanting to stay home, be a stay-at-home parent? Everybody's got how they feel, right? Being a stay-at-home parent or stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, it is an amazing thing to do. To be able to be there with your kids when they need them, when they need you. But here's the problem. Depending upon where you live, and it's most places nowadays, it almost takes one entire income just to pay for someone to watch your kids. Okay, that's hard. So that means that you're essentially spending one entire income anyway just to pay strangers to watch your kids. That's sucky. Just because you want to keep a career. I understand you want a career, and I think it's awesome that you would want to do that. But if you look at it on the financial side, which I think that's probably where you want to go, and if you're afraid you're going to give up some freedoms, you're going to lose some business friends and things like that, then that's a sucky part to do too. But if you have kids, honestly, those kids become more important than you anyway. That's your job. If you're a parent, your job to make sure your kids are taken care of, and you're raising those kids to be something that they should be. You're making sure that they are going to become the great adults that they should be to help other people become more great adults. So I'm not giving much sympathy right now. The reality is this: everybody that I know they essentially have like maybe 10% left over if they're lucky after paying a daycare place just to take care of their kids while they're at work. So you figure if you're working 10 hours a day, you're keeping 1 hour of that 10 hours in money, just so you go to work. Now my numbers are probably off, but I do know that everybody that I know, majority of the one income they have goes to paying for those kids to be in some type of daycare. Now my wife, once our youngest went to school, once he started going to school, then she went and got a job, and because she wanted to work, and she has incredible, great skills, and she's amazing, and she's honed her skills to be where she is now, and she does very, very well, and she works while the kids were in school, which is awesome, because then there's no daycare, because the kids had to be in school, and so you made it open where she could be home. By the time they got home, she was home. So if one of you guys can work your jobs that way, that'd be awesome. But if you got a baby, that makes it a little bit harder. And why would you want to give up those baby years? I mean, honestly, having the baby around is really cool. And to lose that would be insane. To let other people tell you, hey, oh, so-and-so, your child did their first steps today, and you missed it. Do you really want to miss your child's first steps? Do you really want your kids to tell some stranger to call them mama or dad for the first time? I wouldn't. That'd be horrible. I'm not on the side. I'm not. I mean, it sounds like I'm on the side of your partner, but these are the things you guys got to talk about. I mean, it's important. It's, being a stay-at-home mom or dad, either one of them can work, is so important for the growth of those kids. And then I'm going to be selfish. It is super important for your finances, especially if one of you guys are making really good money and the other one is not making that great of money. The reality is that one income just to pay someone to watch your kids, that's ridiculous. Take care of your own kids, save the money, and grow the bond that you should have with your kids anyway. So it's not a stranger raising your child, it's you raising your child. Pretty simple in my opinion. Hey, Devin, I feel like there's so much pressure to have it all. The perfect career, a family, a social life, everything in between. I'm exhausted trying to keep up with these expectations, and I'm not sure it's even possible. Why do I feel this way, and how do I let go of the need to be perfect? Nothing is going to be perfect in your life. What you need to do is set expectations of realism and say, you know what, I can handle this, but I don't want to handle this.